My boss is always looking over my shoulder. It's hard to work in these conditions.
There is a cat named Winston, and at first glance, he does not look like a cat anyone would want to love. His fur is tangled, his eyes are sharp, and his face seems permanently frozen in a scowl. But the anger people see is not sluchina. It is built slowly, layer by layer, from something much deeper. Winston is not born this way. He is made this way.
Do you ever feel like this in the morning?
The call comes on a quiet afternoon. Animal Control has just rescued a Persian mix from a condemned apartment. His owner has been gone for 3 months. 3 months of silence. 3 months without food, without water, without a single gentle touch. When they find him, he is barely more than a matted ball of fur, hissing at anyone who dares come close.
Honey? Quite a purr you got going there.
5 foster volunteers say no. They do not say no because they do not care. They say no because Winston does not just look difficult, he looks dangerous. He bites, he lashes out. His eyes do not show fear the way most abandoned animals do. Instead, they look calculating, like he is always deciding where the next threat might come from.
Turn it off, just swipe. There you go. Keep swiping. Okay, now push. There you go. Keep swiping.
Then Jake sees his photo, and something makes him pause. It is not the anger that catches him, it is what might be hiding underneath it. Because sometimes, the loudest anger is just the quietest fear trying to survive. Jake agrees to take Winston in, just for 2 weeks. From the moment Winston arrives, the tension is undeniable. He claims a high spot in the room, perched like a statue, watching everything. He does not hide. He does not run. He simply observes, ears flat, eyes locked, ready. Jake does not rush him. He does not reach out or try to force trust. Instead, he sits on the floor and talks about his day, about nothing important, about everything that fills the silence without demanding anything in return. He tells Winston, in the calmest way possible, that he is not going anywhere.
Albert, don't try to hide from me, dude. I knew it.
For 3 days, nothing changes. No progress, no softening, just the same distant stare. But on the 4th day, something shifts. Winston climbs down. He does not come close. He does not ask for affection. He simply stands across the room, present. And somehow, that is everything. Jake stays still, his voice gentle, giving Winston the space to decide what happens next.
I'm sorry, Albert. It's cold outside and I didn't mean to be late.
Days turn into weeks. Winston begins to form a quiet routine. He waits until Jake is sitting down, then slowly walks over and settles a few feet away. Always watching, always cautious. The anger in his eyes begins to fade, not completely, but enough to reveal something new, something calmer. Not trust yet, but no longer fear.
Looks like you're in attack mode. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead. Ow!
Then, one morning, everything changes. Jake is tired, the kind of tired that weighs on your chest and makes the world feel heavier than it should. He sits on the couch, lost in his thoughts, when he suddenly feels a presence beside him.
I'm sorry. I know I said I wouldn't be late again. I'm sorry. I'll work hard today, I promise.
Winston, closer than ever before. The cat still looks the same grumpy, unimpressed, unreadable. But then, without warning, Winston takes 2 small steps forward and sits directly on Jake's lap. No hesitation, no permission, just a quiet decision. And then, The sound fills the room, a deep, steady purr. Jake does not move.
Dude, you can't have the burrito.
Why not?
Because in that moment, he understands something important. Winston is not broken. He is careful. Every second of anger, every hiss, every bite, it has never been about hurting others. It has always been about protecting himself.
Albie. How you doing, mister?
The next day, the shelter calls. They ask if Winston can be moved. Jake looks at the cat stretched across his home, still wearing that same stubborn expression, and he already knows the answer. Winston is not going anywhere.
He's really purring today, which means he's angry, he wants something to eat. I think he might be going for my ear.
3 months later, Winston rules the apartment. He sleeps on Jake's pillow. He interrupts work calls. He knocks things off counters just to watch them fall, as if proving to himself that he finally has control over something in his life. People ask if Winston is happy.
Albert obeys all of my commands. For example, do not push that pen off the table. See?
Jake smiles. Because happiness does not always look the way we expect. Sometimes, it looks like a grumpy face resting peacefully beside someone who never gave up.
Say hello. Hello to the world.
And maybe that is the lesson Winston leaves behind. The angriest hearts are not choosing anger, they are choosing protection. And when they finally choose you, when they decide you are safe enough to let in, it is not a small thing. It is everything. If this story stays with you, even just a little, take a moment to share it with someone who might need the reminder. And if you believe in stories like this, the quiet ones, the real ones, consider supporting more of them. Because somewhere out there, another Winston is still waiting for someone patient enough to see past the anger and stay